Good morning. Welcome this morning. And today is April 27th, and we are live on Facebook. This is our third week. We are doing these morning live streams, the devotions, and I've appreciated this process. Uh, it's been a it's been a kind of a fun journey. I've enjoyed it, being able to do these things at 7 a.m. Monday through Thursday. This is our third week, as I've said, and grateful for what this is producing really in me. I appreciate everyone's comments always. They're really affirming. Um, and so it helps me to have the motivation to keep doing this. So I really appreciate it. I see everybody is joining us this morning. Claudia, my mom, Janisa, Steve Hauser, Brittany, George, welcome. Let me scroll down here so that the feed keeps moving. Carmen, good morning. Alyssa, Stephanie, good morning. Good morning to you all. April 27, and if you have your Bible ready, we're in Psalm 27 this morning. I wanted to comment real quick before we started that some of you I know have at least temporarily adopted this journey through the Psalms and the strategy that we're beginning with the Psalm that corresponds with the day of the month. Today is the 27th, so we're starting with Psalm 27, and then you add 30 and do Psalm 57, and then so on and so forth till you reach the end of the Psalms. And then that way, in a month, if you've read all those Psalms, you could have completed the entire book of Psalms. And if you do that month after month, you'll have reread the book many times. So one comment I want to make about this that I think is important. Let me just keep acknowledging people that are chiming in here. Lori, good to see you. Suzanne, Daryl and Suzanne there. Kim, Clevenger, good morning. Karen Faust, Debbie Collins, good morning to you all. Appreciate you coming in. Oh, you're asking about my hat, Debbie. Black Mingo Outfitters. This is my souvenir from. I'm surprised you can read it. Oh, I guess on the computer it's not backwards. It's only when I do this on my phone that it's backwards. Yeah, it's an outfitter in South Carolina. So this is my souvenir from South Carolina when we visited there a couple of years ago. Visited Martha's dad and Becca there. It was really a great experience. Anyway, I guess a black mingo is a type of fish. I don't know. I hadn't heard of it, but I liked the hat. Good morning, Caleb. Welcome this morning. So I was commenting on this strategy to get through the Psalms, and one of the things I want to keep, I think the importance and the real strength of this schedule is the goal isn't. I think it's a secondary goal to read through the entire book of Psalms. And the reason I say it's a secondary goal is because I think one of the things that has made this plan, reading plan, more meaningful to me, and because it's meaningful, I keep doing it. I've done it for a little bit more than a year, maybe a year and a half now. This is my morning routine. Is that here's the strength of it to me, is that when you get to a passage of scripture or to a psalm that strikes you in some particular way, stop. You don't have to read anymore. Stop and meditate on that psalm. And for me, I journal. So I'll begin to journal about what the psalm means to me and begin to allow God to speak into my life in very personal ways through that particular psalm. So you probably have already noticed that that I don't often, even in our devotion times, the psalm that I bring isn't is one selection of, obviously one psalm of the 5 or so psalms that we would have looked at that day as a part of this reading plan, and oftentimes it's the very first one. And so again, I let go of the goal of getting through all of the psalms every month. My primary goal is hearing from God. I want to hear from God today. I want God to speak into my heart, into my life right now, exactly where I'm at. So I just stop. When that happens, I stop. When I hear God speaking to me, I stop. And I just meditate on that psalm. So this morning, we are in Psalm 27. I didn't read beyond that. I didn't get to the Psalm 57 and so on. Other mornings I do, but not today. And so we're going to be in Psalm 27. So if you're following along with the reading plan, I just want to encourage you that don't make it rigid. Like the goal is just to get through. I've read all the Psalms in a month. Eventually you will. We get through all the Psalms. And certainly after a year and a half of doing this, I've read every Psalm more than once. But it's not the goal every month to me to get through all the Psalms. The goal is to hear from God every day. That's my primary goal. And so you stop whenever that happens and you just meditate on it. So that's to me, the strength of this reading plan. So is that you're not rigid about it. Let me acknowledge a few more people before we get into the psalm. Is today Caleb's birthday? Happy birthday, Caleb. Thank you for pointing that out, Debbie. Matthew Hooper, Pastor Matthew, good morning. Andrew Simpson, good morning. Welcome this morning. I see Sierra Pera is joining us as well. Good morning. And Sierra, are you asking me about my shirt? This is explaining this is actually a gift. This shirt, it's a company called Marine Layer. It's the most comfortable clothing, but our daughter Morgan used to work at Marine Layer. So every Christmas, every birthday, she would hook us up. This is really expensive clothing. I think this shirt, I'm guessing, but it would be typical for a shirt this to cost more than $100. And she had the bottom line discounts, and sometimes she would get stuff for free. So she was always passing along these great bits of clothing to us. So I'm grateful for that. Anyway, let's get to the psalm. Good morning, Barbara. I see you there. Lisa Brenner, good morning. I noticed your name there too. So, all right, here we are. We're in Psalm 27. If you have your Bible, turn to Psalm 27. And this is so this psalm, it starts out with some bold statements that exude confidence. Let's read it. Verse 1, the Psalm of David. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When evildoers assail me to eat up my flesh, my adversaries and foes, it is they who will stumble and fall. Though an army encamp against me, my heart shall not fear. Though war arise against me, yet I will be confident. So if we just stop there in the psalm, that would be a pretty psalm to meditate on, particularly if you're going through some struggle or you're fearing the outcome of a doctor visit or something like that, or it seems strange to always keep referring back to our life circumstance of COVID-19, but certainly that is on our mind. And for many, that invokes fear. And here David is saying, I'm absolutely confident that it's not me who's going to fall, it's them who's going to fall, because my confidence is in the Lord. End of story. That would be a great psalm in and of itself, just to meditate on that and to be confident today. However, that's not where David's experience ends. This is what struck me about this psalm. And so he said, "This is my confidence. It's not me who's going to fall. It's my enemies who are going to fall, because my confidence is in the Lord." Let's keep reading. Verse 4. One thing I have asked of the Lord, that I will seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, just to gaze upon the beauty of the Lord, to inquire in his temple. For he will hide me in his shelter in the day of trouble. He will conceal me under the cover of his tent. He will lift me high upon a rock. So this is the basis of God's or David's confidence, is that he has prayed, made this request of the Lord. This is the thing I've asked of God, that I may dwell in his tent or his house forever. And the picture here is not the Solomon's temple, this magnificent stone, beautiful, gold inlaid temple. It's the tabernacle. The temple has not yet been built, and David is looking to this as a place of being in the presence of God, and this is the foundation of his confidence. He's in the presence of God, and in that place, he feels very secure. One thing I've asked God, this is what I'm going to seek. I dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life. No one lives in the tabernacle. No one lives. I mean, the priests themselves spend a lot of time there, but no one lives there. And so this is kind of a hyperbole of David's to say that's where I just want to be, is in the presence of God, and that I would not be moved from his presence. I just set up house there. This is where I'm going to live. And so I'm confident I'm not going to fall. My enemies will fall because my confidence is in God, because I have prayed to God that he would make my place secure in his presence. So the story is beginning to unravel here. We haven't got to the twist in the plot yet. So let's look at verse 7. And what we're going to see as the psalm progresses is his confidence gets tested. His confidence begins to not erode, it's probably not the best way to say it, but he's definitely questioning, because he's stated his confidence publicly, it sounds like. This is a psalm. He stated his confidence publicly. He has made his request known. This is what I would like of the Lord. And now he's beginning to doubt. It's like, okay, God, why haven't you answered my prayer right away? What's going on? So you start to see this shift in his confidence. It's being tested. Verse 7, hear, O Lord, when I cry aloud. Be gracious to me and answer me. You have said, seek my face. So my heart says to you, your face, Lord, do I seek. I'm doing what you want me to do, God. You've asked me to seek you. I am seeking you. And now you see his confidence begin to shift here in verse 9. Hide not your face from me. Turn not your servant away in anger. O you have been my help. Cast me not off. Forsake me not, O God of my salvation. For my father and my mother have forsaken me, but the Lord will take me in. So his shout of confidence is now becoming more akin to pleas with God. Okay, don't leave me hanging here, God. I've done what you've asked me to do. I'm seeking you. This is my one desire, to be in your presence and to feel that security of your presence. And so don't turn me away as I'm asking you. So there's been some time that's passing, and David's confidence that God's going to deliver him, and the deliverance apparently hasn't come yet in his experience. Like, okay, God, shift from confidence to don't forsake me. I mean, I hope you're hearing me. So the psalm shifts further now. His confidence is being tested, and now we're seeing the resilience of David beginning in verse 11 and to the end. Teach me your way, O Lord, and lead me on a level path because of my enemies. Give me not up to the will of my adversaries, for false witnesses have risen against me, and they breathe out violence. So he's shifting back. His confidence is kind of shifted away from deliverance and like, okay, God, well, don't forsake me. I'm doing what you've asked me to do. I'm seeking you. But his confidence shifts to, okay, God, teach me. What is it that you want me to know about you? So when God doesn't answer our prayers right away, and we get into a mode of waiting and persevering in our circumstance, or persevering, enduring um, what we're going through. It is literally a time that God uses to test us in the way that He's teaching us something deeper about faith, something deeper about His um, character, and He reveals things about us. What is my confidence in? And I'm testing my own belief system in this process. Is it up to this task? Is it up to my circumstance? And where do I need to grow? And so we see David shift from complete confidence, his request before God to dwell securely in his presence. That hasn't happened in his material, physical space. So he moves from that to, God, okay, don't forsake me. Even people close to me have forsaken me, but I know that you won't, right? And so he shifts from there to, teach me your ways. Teach me your ways, on account of my enemies who are speaking falsely against me, who breathe out violence. Teach me your ways, God. What is it you need to teach me? And here's how that psalm ends, and I love this. In verse 13 and 14, he returns back to confidence, even though he hasn't been delivered. Verse 13, I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. In other words, this circumstance is not going to come about in my demise. God will answer my prayer. I just need to wait. Verse 14, wait upon the Lord. Be strong. He's talking this to himself. Wait upon the Lord. Be strong and let your heart take courage. Wait for the Lord. So this psalm is so encouraging to me, because that is our human experience in so many ways, and how God, in his goodness and his sovereignty, that he doesn't always sweep in and just answer prayer. Oftentimes it's our experience that as we cry to God and we have this pure heart of really wanting God's will done, we really want to know him, to be in his presence, but for whatever reason, he allows this uncomfortable place to continue, and it just is taking time to work its way out. And we don't like that uncomfortable place. I hate being uncomfortable in that sense. But learning patience, learning to endure, having our confidence in God tested is so vital to our spiritual maturity. And so we have to make this shift, just like David did, from confidence, seeking God, just as he has prescribed me to seek him. Okay, God, you asked me to seek you. I'm seeking you. Having that faith tested, and then removing to this resolute confidence of faith, though we haven't seen the answer yet, or at least the answer in which we wanted, in the way we wanted it, to say, I believe. Teach me your ways. I believe that I will I will dwell in the land among the living. I believe in your deliverance, and I'm willing to wait. God, I wait. I'm going to be strong in the process. This is our self-talk. I'm going to be strong in the process to keep seeking you. So let me, just for the sake of illustration, apply this to my own life in a particular way that might be helpful. A year ago, I was preparing to enjoy this time of sabbatical that I was able to do for 9 weeks during the last summer, and I had a stack of books that I had purchased that I really wanted to read. I had this game plan, and one small sliver of this whole experience that I'm going to want to share with you in this context, as it relates back to this psalm, is that God had been revealing to me a script in my own life that was false, but I had believed it, and I was really determined during the time of my sabbatical to examine that and try to get to the root of it and try to change it if I could. And I've talked about this before. The script has to do with perfectionism in my own life experience. Perfectionism, by definition, is having an unrealistically high expectation of something or yourself, and and the key word being there, unreasonable, it's not attainable, an unattainably high standard. And how that played out in my relationship with God is that, perfectionism kind of makes you miserable, makes you a high achiever, I guess. You're very driven to make things the way they ought to be, and so on. But it also, there's this hidden underbelly, this darkness that also accompanies it because it's an unreasonably high, unattainably high standard. You're always falling short of it. And so there's this darkness that's always there in your soul. And what I was really uncomfortable with is that how I applied this thinking, this script, to my relationship with God. And how, because my belief was that God requires holiness from me. He has given me everything I need for life and godliness. He's put his own Holy Spirit in me. I ought to attain to the measure that God has given me, the ability to live for him. In my mind, now that's theologically true, but in my mind, I felt like anything short of that is failure. And how it was affecting my relationship with God is that I always viewed God as eternally disappointed. God, I'm so aware of all my flaws and how consistently I fall short of your divine standard. And so you must be disappointed with me all the time. I'm disappointed in me. I'm disappointed on how I can't attain that standard. So how much more should you be disappointed in me? And that's how I live my life. And it was kind of this hidden thing because theologically it has a lot of flaws to it. It's not really true, but it's how I felt. And because I have this undercurrent of the script in my life of trying to be perfect. And so one of the big shifts in my sabbatical time was that God revealed to me the inherent flaws of this. This is why Psalm 27 is thinking. There's two things about Psalm 27 that make me think about this morning. Is one that that verse 11, teach me your way, O God, lead me on a level path because of enemies. So an enemy for me was this false script of perfectionism. And I wanted God to teach me a new path. Teach me your ways, because I don't think my script is right. It's not correct, and it's causing trouble in my soul. And it has for years, as long as I can remember, even as a kid. And then the second aspect of Psalm 27 is waiting. That once I came to the reality that that's a false script, and I need to allow God to teach me a new way, the reality is I can't snap my fingers and say, this is my new way of thinking, and I'm just going to be happy from here forward with my performance. I had to be patient in the process, and I believe that in many cases, especially with these very emotional, well-worn scripts in our life, that we have adopted even as children in our formative years of experience, they're hard to unseat these scripts. And so as I cried out to God, I know this. I know the truth about you. I know the truth is that you delight in me, that you love me so dearly as your beloved son. It was easy for me to even project my own love for my children into this thinking, to say, they're not perfect, but I love them so much. I would die for them. I take such great delight in my children. But I couldn't bridge the gap between that, even my own flawed nature as a father. I think that way about my kids. I couldn't allow myself that God would think that about me, that he takes delight in me. So I bridged to a middle ground, if you will. This is the teaching process and the waiting. I bridged to the middle ground. The middle ground to me is that that I ended up with at the end of summer is that God is gracious. He's gone from disappointed to gracious in my mind. And I wrote about this a little bit, that I shifted from this expectation of perfection to an expectation of I'm going to do my best. I can't do any more than my best. And my best accepts all the variables of my own limitations, of circumstances that make so that I couldn't do a task or couldn't do something in the way that I wanted. I have to take all those things into account. That's going to make it something less than perfect on a regular basis. And understanding that God is gracious. It's like, yeah, I understand the same variables. I don't expect you to be perfect. I'm gracious with you. So I moved God from being disappointed in my mind to being gracious. And that actually relieved a ton in my own soul, the heaviness and the weight of my own soul in that process. But now in my life, again, it takes a long time to unseat these scripts and to rewrite them. And the Lord, teach my heart your ways because of my enemies. My enemy is this false script. In fact, he even says, my enemies or my adversaries are false witnesses that have risen against me. So this is why it's really true, this false script that I had accepted. So I moved God from disappointment to being gracious. But God is further doing work in my soul these last several weeks in particular to say, Mark, that's not enough. You need to grow. God is not only gracious. God is saying this to me. God, I am not only gracious, I actually have a fierce love for you. I take great delight in you. And I realize, okay, God, I need to grow some more. I need to grow in my understanding and continue to battle this script that you're not just gracious, you actually take great delight in me. I need to get to that next level of understanding in my relationship with him. I wish I could say that I'm there, but what I am saying is, as David prayed at the end of Psalm in verse 13, I believe that I shall look upon the goodness of the Lord and the land of the living. I'm not there yet, but I believe that I will be because I'm dealing with this false script, this false enemy that has come against me. And I am waiting on the Lord, and I'm telling this to myself, be strong, let your heart take courage, wait for the Lord. So there's hope in that. I'm willing to wait. I'm willing to work on this, work on my own stuff, and wait, though it's painful, to wait on the Lord. And he is doing his work in good time. My confidence is unshaken, but it is being tested. And so we have to be willing to believe, walk by faith, and continue to move forward in the things that God is revealing to us and teaching us, that we don't just experience the deliverance in the moment we ask for it. So I hope that's of encouragement to you today. And so I wanted to say one thing with regard to our prayer request. I got a text early this morning from Debbie King. And some of you may know that Rich had taken a turn for the worse, and he's done that several times. His health is so fragile. He was in ICU a week ago, but he was home recovering. And I got a text from Debbie yesterday that he was not doing well. Well, I got a text this morning just to let you know that Rich King went to be with the Lord last night. And so we just want to be praying for Debbie, pray for all the King family as they grieve this loss of this precious soul, husband, a dad, a grandpa, that's invoking deep grief in this loss. And we're grateful at the same time that Rich knew the Lord, he had a relationship with God, and that God has received Rich into his presence and his home now, and free of all of these health issues that he had experienced. And so we're rejoicing in that, but we want to keep praying for Debbie in this loss. So keep remembering her. I just got the text at 4:30 this morning. So it happened sometime in the night. So remember the family. Well, you guys, I pray for you by name. Grateful that you have joined me and are so faithful to keep joining me on these mornings, devoting to the Lord and to the Psalms and teaching our heart. I pray for you today, for your encouragement, and Lord bless you today. I'm signing off.